Hello, it's KD7QOW. I'm at a new park to me. This is Battleground Lake State Park, which is, it's surprising I've never been here. I used to work at Battleground High School not far from here, and in all the 5 years I worked there, I never stopped by here. I've driven by this many times. This was supposed to be an activation showing off my new ATAS 120A, the Yaesu antenna, but I figured I found this nice pavilion here. It doesn't appear to be reserved for today. If folks start showing up to use it, I'll certainly move. But I figured I couldn't not take advantage of this, so I'm gonna go ahead and set up the KX2. Interesting call sign. I'm surprised. I've got 8 QSOs in like 12 minutes. That's not bad at all for this little antenna. One more and I'm qualified. Okay, so that was a pretty fun little experiment. I did not expect the AX1 whip to work that well, especially under a metal roof. Like I'm sitting in here in just a little park pavilion underneath the metal roof, and I wasn't sure how well that would work, but I'll show you my setup. So I'll try not to pull the radio off the table because I'm connected to my paddle here that's strapped to my leg. And then I have the KX2 sitting right there with the AX1 whip on it. And I'm just using my iPad to log because I don't want to copy my log over later. So I'm being lazy. And then you can see that mess because I'm running, you were listening to my Morse code through a splitter, through a little split cable, Y cable here, that's going into one of these wireless microphone systems. So this one's just working at line level, feeding into one channel, and then you're listening to me through another wireless microphone. The counterpoise is just lazily kind of draped over the side here. There's nothing special going on. So I'm gonna head back over to the car. It's about 40 degrees out here, I think, 45 degrees. It's a beautiful 45-degree, drippy Pacific Northwest day in December. Actually, honestly, these are some of my favorite days, and that must be why I live in this emerald paradise. This is a nice little park. I definitely will come back here at some time in the future. This would be a great one to come activate on like a nice weekday in the summertime. So with that, I'm gonna head on back to the car. I will see you as I set up the ATAS 120, and we're gonna kind of compare. Like I said, I think that the AX1 whip and the ATAS 120 are like, they inhabit the same kind of part of the ecosystem for what they do, right? They're a highly compromised antenna that makes setup fast and simple and takes a lot of the difficulty out so that you can just set up and activate. So we'll see you back at the car. Okay, I'm back in the car, and I'm going to show you compromised radio and antenna setup number 2. So just a minute ago, we activated, and I got the park qualified with the very compromised AX1 whip and my KX2 running 10 watts underneath the metal roof of a pavilion, and still managed to do pretty okay, and got it activated in less than a half an hour. So now what I'm going to do is I'm out here in a little different parking lot, but in the same state park, Battleground Lake, and I'm going to set up the ATAS 120, which I think of as the mobile 100 watt version of the AX1, basically. I mean, it does more bands, it's a little more versatile, but same idea. And I have that. So the first part of this, I've got I have a mount outside on the hood here, and then I've got this wire that comes into the car, and I didn't do like a super, like, it didn't require a lot. I'm just running the wire literally past the door gasket here, and it's using a length of the mount that I got uses a length of RG316, so it's fine. And I'm going to show you kind of what I did to mount this. So for now, we'll see if this stays the same way. I may change the setup, but for now, it's a I have a UHF mount right there. It's just a little lip mount, and you can see under there, I've kind of come up with a grounding scheme. Last night I was playing around with the antenna, and I discovered that my first experiment with the antenna over at Fort Vancouver, with it mounted on that hood mount, I was getting a little bit of RF on the line. I was actually getting bit. Well, I would say nibbled. I was getting nibbled by RF a little bit on 10 meters. So I've added this choke. It's just a piece of 43 material. I just wrapped the cable around some 43 material. I can't remember what size core that is, but it's fine. To help with that. And then as soon as I put that in and tried the antenna, it would not tune up on 40 meters, which told me what I knew was already happening, which was that the jacket of the coax was becoming part of the antenna. So I'm gonna come back here. I don't see any reason. So this is the ATAS. I don't see any reason to drive with the ATAS attached, so I do not. Oh, I hear a goat. I wonder who's activating. Someone's activating. Let's see who's activating. Whiskey 7 Delta. He's on 40 meters. Oh man. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get him in time. We'll see if he's still out there when I'm all set up. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I keep the screw cap on there, of course. It's a really simple setup. You just take the ATAS and it's just a UHF on the bottom here, and you just screw it down in place, and it's just kind of looking at how this all goes together, which is what reminded me of the AX1. It makes me think that this is basically a kindred to that kind of compromised antenna, because all it is there's a coil in here, right? It's a screwdriver antenna, and there's a coil, and the motor just moves this jacket up and down over the coil, and the stinger on this is even shorter than the whip on the AX1. So it's honestly like very close. The only difference is that this is going to be running 100 watts, and the AX1 was getting 10 watts, and there's more coil exposed, and that's part of the reason I put this on the hood and not the hatch. Is I know that the coil radiates as well, so I don't want it to get caught up in the car body, although I don't know how much of a difference that really makes. Probably not as much as we'd hope, or we'd like to believe. So I keep all the radio in this Apache case, and as usual, I will be over on the passenger side activating. So let's go ahead, get inside the car and get this set up. Okay, we're back. Now, setup for this thing couldn't be any easier. You literally just take the coax. It does all the control and everything. All the SWR detection and antenna control and everything goes through the coax cable, which is rad. So even the voltage that it needs in order to tune the antenna with the motor goes through the coax. So it simplifies it down to one connection. So I just do that, and then I'll hook up my battery, which I'm keeping the battery kind of in the box over here. So I'll have the radio just kind of to the side. So I just set that all up, and turn on the radio, and it's ready to go. So I just kind of the radio set over here. So I'll bring it up to 20 meters. So I'll go ahead and show you how this tunes up. So I'm going to go down to 14060 where I was. I think it was at 14051, wasn't I? Change this to CW. Can't remember where I was spotted. But anyway, I don't hear anybody. So then I go to function. So go to tuner. It'll say high SWR. And what's happening out there is it's moving. Well, it's going to do a little cycle. But it's going to start moving the antenna a little bit to come out here. There you go. Now you can hear it, and there it goes. It's moving the coil up. If you come over here, you can watch the SWR meter, and it'll actually drop. Boink. And someone got my frequency. I'm rating an SWR just under 2. I wonder what that's a digital modem on top of. I wonder what that is. Okay, so 10 meters isn't usable right now. I'm gonna try 12. I never used 12 meters. Let's see what 12 is like today. I'm going to try QSY into 30 meters because there's somebody I know on there. I didn't make any on 40 meters, but that's okay. I got 30 meters and I got 12 meters, so there's some intermediate bands in there. And I've got, according to the Polo, which it's a pretty good logging program, by the way. Polo's decent, except it has this one little error where if you have a call sign that has a number in it, where the number is the beginning of the call sign, so there's some Japanese call signs that start with a number, it just won't let you put the log in. And I remember having like a total temper tantrum while I was doing a SOTA activation with that. And I was like, I vowed never to ever do a digital log again on the SOTA, at least. But here I am. So anyhow, a day like today is a perfect example of exactly why I bought this, the ATAS 120. Because I still want to play radio, I still want to play with my radio, I still want to do CW, but I don't want to, I can't, I mean, it's wet out there. I mean, there's not enough room here really for me to set up an end-fed half wave, and it's wet out. It's not a pleasant place or time to do that. I've used a 17-foot whip before. which works, but you have to get out of the car to adjust the antenna over and over again. And that gets annoying when it's wet like this, because it's like, it's not so much about protecting your body from the rain, it's that you come in and then your jacket and everything is wet from getting out there in the rain, and then the water gets everywhere in the car. So it's just nice to be able to like sit in here. Like, I just randomly want to I just want to activate from my car, and I can just do that. I just plug in the antenna, plug in the radio, and activate. It's that same kind of convenience that you get from the AX1 whip, or that you get from like a KH1, right? It's this idea of just wherever I'm parked, whatever I'm doing, if there's a nearby park, I can just go to that park, be in that park in the car, and make some QSOs. And that's what I got the ATAS for. Yeah, it is definitely compromised. It is not as good as my end-fed half wave. I can tell that it's not really that great. But then again, yesterday I was making QSOs with Australia and I think Argentina. It was like International Day with this antenna, but that was on 10 meters, and it's not as compromised on 10 meters as it is on like 40 meters. So that's something to keep in mind. So all of that, I'd say it's still worth it. I still have to play around with grounding a little bit. I can get the SWR though just below 2 to 1, probably about 1.8 to 1 on 40 meters. But that's good enough. So with that, I think, I think I'm happy with the purchase for now. We'll see how I play around with it, and if how I use it changes, if I move it around on the car or whatnot. I'm really pleased to see that to figured out with a magnet that my hood is made out of aluminum on this car. That's more common now. And because that hood is made out of aluminum, and I was able to put a hole in the bottom there to make a ground screw, and I don't have to worry about it corroding. So that is a huge plus. My overall verdict is don't underestimate a compromised antenna. Today I managed to activate this park with 21 QSOs in a little over an hour and 13 minutes, and that was like including getting in the car, driving around, walking back and forth, all this other stuff. 10 of those QSOs, I qualified the park with an AX1 whip running 10 watts. If the band is open, it's open, and you're going to make QSOs. If the band is not open, no amount of power and antenna is going to necessarily overcome that, because you can't hear everyone else. So there's a little bit of that going on. And a compromised antenna is still better than no antenna at all, and it's better than not playing radio at all. So don't let perfect be the enemy of good, and consider compromised antennas when you just want to set up and you just want to play radios. 7.3, go out there and play with your radio.